was requested by this viewer right here. Hopefully I put that right there. So I actually went in and had to get some cards because it's been a while since I have played Magic, so I didn't have any laying around, but I actually do know how to play it. But today, that is not the video. Today is not, or we may release them on the same day. I'm not sure. But this video is not the video of how to play. This video is us opening a bunch of cards. Now I kind of already started the process before Shannon was like, hey, you should record that. And I was kind of like, hey, you're right. So some of the things are open, but none of the card packs are actually open yet. So today we are opening a Magic the Gathering Dungeons and Dragons Adventure in the Forgotten Realms collector box. So this part we've already opened, but here is the inside of the package. It's very fancy. It's got the 5 colors and a really cool, like, dragon thingy-majigger. I can't hold it straight. There we go. So we've already opened that portion. This is the box that the cards come in. So we've opened that portion. And so it comes with these 3 D&D campaign cards. I don't know what they mean or what they are. I think you're supposed to use the actual D&D like Magic cards to play with them, but it doesn't come with instructions on how to do that. It comes with this absolutely massive 20-sided die. This is huge for a 20-sided die. About twice the size of a normal one, but it's pretty cool, and is actually a D&D sanctioned. You can't tell, but that's a whole dragon. D&D sanctioned, so it's made by Dungeons and Dragons themselves. We have 10 booster packs to go through. What's super cool about Magic that I forgot about Pokemon is you actually get more cards per booster, so we have even more cards to go through this time. It comes with a couple basic rule cards that we'll go over in the next video. And then this actually came in 2 packs, but it has a bunch of mana, and it came with holographic ones. Look at that, is really neat looking on camera. That's really cool. But it came with a bunch of holographic ones and then a bunch of non-holographic ones, and it came with 4 of each. So we've got the 4 islands hollow, and then the 4 non-holographic hollows, and so on and so forth. You know, you got your swamps and your non-holographic swamps and stuff. So 8 of each energy, 4 holographic and 4 non-holographics. And that is it. That is all the box came with. So a little bit less than the Pokemon box. It doesn't come with card sleeves, or extra dice or anything. But dice isn't really super used in Magic, other than the 20-sided die, which you use to keep track of your hit points. But again, we'll go over all that in the next video. As for now, let's get to opening packs. So, let's see what we get here. We got a Bar the Gate. It is an instant card, which means it can be played on your turn or their turn. And you can also play it at any point. You don't have to wait for them. And so, counter a target creature or planeswalker spell, and then venture into the dungeon, into the first room, or advance into the next room. So this is this Dungeons and Dragons thing is a whole mechanic I'll have to explore separately. But anyways, I love Magic's card art. I don't love how our camera never wants to focus. She has Vigilance and Stunning Strike, which can tap a target creature. A Hired Hexblade, which is a Dark Elf Warlock. Again, you can't really see how good the card art looks. When Hired Hexblade enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and lose a life. This is an instant for green. And it is target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until the end of its turn. Untap it. Which trample, quick explanation, is whenever you deal damage to an opponent's monster, the extra damage, so if you have 7 attack and the monster only has 3 defense, the remaining difference of 4 actually hits the player directly, which that's how you win Magic, is either your opponent runs out of cards or they run out of hit points. We've got a fire spell, Boots of Speed, which is equipped creature gets 1/1/0, and it has haste, which means it always gets to attack first, even if it is declared to be an attacker. So let's say a quick example of how this would work is we actually have our 2 monster examples here. So say that the half-elf monk and the hired hexblade are fighting, right? And so the player with the hired hexblade, which is 2/2, chooses to attack the monk. So if the monk has Boots of Speed, which means it has haste, that means it has +1 and +0, which when the elf attacks, so when the hired hexblade attacks the elf, its damage is calculated into the monk, whereas if it has haste, it's the other way around. Its damage gets calculated first, even if it's used as a blocker. It's a very quick explanation of what haste is. We've got a blue spell, Shocking Grasp. Target creature gets -2, -0 until the end of the turn, and you get to draw a card. So zip zap, zip zip zip. You Came to the Knoll Camp is an instant, a red instant spell. And you can choose to do one of 2 things. You can either intimidate them, up to 2 target creatures cannot block this turn, or you can fend them off, in which target creature gets +3/+1 until the end of the turn. We've got a green creature here, the Owlbear, which I am actually a pretty big D&D nerd too, so it's pretty fun to see all of these cards in real form. So the Owlbear has Trample, which again, Trample is any extra damage that would normally destroy the creature is dealt to the opposing player as direct damage to their hit points. So it has Trample and Keen Senses. When Owlbear enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Got a red spell. A red creature, Plundering Barbarian. When Plundering Barbarian enters the battlefield, choose one of 2 things. Either destroy target artifact or create a treasure token, which is an artifact where if you sacrifice this artifact, you may add 1 mana of any color. So the gameplay session, I'll explain a little bit better how that card works, but that's a pretty decent instant. We've got green here, which is sacrifice she's a creature, Neverwinter Dryad. You can sacrifice the Neverwinter Dryad and search your library for a basic forest card. Put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your deck. She is 1/1. Pretty neat little card. I'm not really a fan of green, but oh well. This one is a type of card I've never seen before. But we've got Druid Glass. So I've never seen a magic card that looks like this, but it's pretty neat. I wish our camera would focus. Anyways, whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whoa, what? So you just get 1 life per round. That's pretty neat. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Oh, okay. Oh, so it levels up. Okay, so you guys won't be able to see because my thing doesn't want to focus, but it starts off with the basic portion, which is 1 life when you get mana, and then each time you use more mana, it evolves into the next form. So at level 2, you may play an additional land on each of your turns, and then at level 3, when this class becomes level 3, target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. And it can still be used as a land, which land is mana. That's broken. That's crazy. So you could just create a 16/16 monster. That's insane. That's absolutely crazy. Okay. We've got a blue artifact equipment here. Trickster's Talisman. Invoke Duplicity. Equipped creatures get +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice Trickster's Talisman. If you do, create a token that's a copy of this creature. That's interesting. So you put this. Okay, so we're gonna back up. Oh, I lost my examples. Oh, well, we don't want to reveal him yet. We're gonna back up. So let's say you have your hired Hexblade out on the field, and you equip the Trickster's Talisman to him. If the hired Hexblade deals damage directly to your opponent's Pokemon, you get a copy. Boop, boop, and the card acts as a copy of that monster. Interesting card. We've got the Red Dragon, which is obviously a creature and a red card. It has flying, which flying monsters can only be blocked by other flying monsters. And it has the ability Fire Breath. When Red Dragon enters the battlefield, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. So you just instantly get to deal 4 damage just for playing this card. And it is a 4/4. And then we've got just a swamp energy. Nothing really special or exciting about that one. We've got Irmith, the Desert Doom. This card looks different. I don't know if this is a standard card or if it's like a legacy card, because I know for a little while they were doing legacy cards. But it has flying. Imerith Desert Doom has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped. And whenever Imerith deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. If you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Not bad. So if you only have 1 card, you can draw all the way up to 3, and then when you're at 3, you can only draw 1. But if you have less than 3, you draw up to however many you need to get to 3. Not a bad little card. Anyways, on to the next deck. So we've got a white creature pulling your ally, has flying, and when playing your ally attacks, you venture into the dungeon, which all of these cards come with these little dungeon cards. I'm not quite sure exactly, again, how this works, because, well, I didn't look that much into the D&D stuff. I figured they were just going to be kind of themed. I didn't realize there was going to be actual like gameplay elements based around them. Anyways, it's playing your ally. Eye of the Beholder, which is really neat, and a really difficult monster in D&D for anybody that plays. You would know. Target creature gets -11 until the end of the turn. Now granted, it is 6 mana to cast that, so that is a big spell, but still, that's crazy. -11. Wow. We've got Inspiring Bard. When Inspiring Bard enters the battlefield, choose 1. Bardic Inspiration. Target creature gets +2/+2. Or Song of Rest. You gain 3 life. You can't see it because it's not going to focus, but there's like one person that's very inspired by his music, and then one person like begging him to stop. It's interesting. We've got a red sorcery card here. The Price of Loyalty. Gain control of target creature until the end of the turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until the end of the turn. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast this spell, that creature gets +2/+0 to the end of the turn. Which came in the holographic pack is also the treasure card. And so what this is for 4 mana, you can sacrifice the treasure chest and roll the d20. If you get a 1, you are trapped and you lose 3 life. If you get 2 through 9, you create 5 treasure tokens. If you get 10 through 19, you gain 3 life and draw 3 cards. And if you get a 20, you search your library for a card, library being your deck. You search your deck for a card. If it's an artifact card, you may put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put that card into your hand and then shuffle. Interesting. Mordencannon's Polymorph. It is a blue instant. Till the end of your turn, target creature becomes a dragon with base power and toughness of 4/4 and gains flying, which sometimes cards specifically punish monster types. So, it looks like it's someone turning a dog into a dragon. Kind of looks like a zebra on camera, though. A zebra with wings. Weird looking zebra with wings. D&D is weird. That's probably in there somewhere. Like a zebra Pegasus or something. We've got a white card. Priest of the Ancient Lore. When Priest of Ancient Lore enters the battlefield. Gain 1 life. Draw a card. He's just a little dwarf with a totally cool beard. We've got a white instant card. Choose one of 2. You can... Oh, sorry. The card's name is You Hear Something on Watch. You can rouse the party. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of the turn. Or you can set off traps. This spell deals damage to target attacking creature. 5 damage. Which pretty much one-shots almost everything we've come across so far. There's not been a monster we've come across that would be able to live through that. Feign Death. Until end of turn, target creature gains. When this creature dies, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. You come into a river, a blue instant spell. Choose one. Fight the current, or return target's non-land permanent to its owner's hand, or find a crossing. Target creature gets +1/+0 to the end of the turn and cannot be blocked. As a blue instant. Oh, there we go. Yeah, again, you can't focus, so. Anyways. Improvised Weaponry. Improvised Weaponry is a fire sorcery that deals 2 damage to any target and creates a treasure token, which again you can sacrifice to act as a mana. We have a blue monster here. It is a really unique looking card. That is really cool looking. It's not holographic, but it's neat looking for sure. Anyways, when Displacer Beast enters the battlefield, venture into, I assume, the dungeon of your choice. And then displacement for 4 mana, so 3 regular mana plus water. Return Displacer Beast to its owner's hand. And it is a 3/2. It's an interesting card. We've got a swamp or black creature here, which is called Dungeon Crawler. Dungeon Crawler enters the battlefield tapped. Whenever you complete a dungeon, you may return Dungeon Crawler from your graveyard to your hand. It is a 2/1. And that doesn't seem super useful to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I guess to just have something on the battlefield, something is better than nothing. And so we have a forest or green creature. That is a lot of mana to summon. 3 anything and 2 forest at an attack and defense of 6/2. Loathsome Troll. Roll a d20. Activate only if Loathsome Troll is in your graveyard. If you get a 1 through 9, you can put him on the top of your deck. If you get a 2 through 19, he goes back in your hand. And if you get a 20, he goes back onto the battlefield in tapped position. Which we'll explain tapped and untapped tomorrow for anyone who has no idea about anything I'm talking about. Check out the new video, or part 2 of this video, so that you can, 1, learn how to play Magic, because it's a really fun game, and 2, half of what I say will make sense now. And we got a regular forest mana. Nothing super interesting. And then the last card in this pack is a land card. It's actually a rare card, even though it's not holographic, so that's cool. If you control 2 or more other lands, Hive of the Eye Tyrant enters the battlefield tapped. If you tap it, it adds 1 swamp mana. And if you use 3 mana and a swamp mana until the end of the turn, Hive of the Eye Tyrant becomes a 3/3 Black Beholder creature with menace, and whenever this creature attacks, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. It is still considered a land. That's a little broken. So, anyways, on to the next one. Oh, we got a holographic in here. Another dungeon card. We've got a swamp artifact, which is Thieves' Tools. When Thieves' Tools enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Equipped creature can't be blocked as long as its power is 3 or less. Ooh. A green instant called Plummet. Destroy target creature with flying at the cost of only 2 mana. 2 mana. That's pretty powerful if you're fighting a heavy flying deck or like a dragon deck. We have a red creature, Brazen Dwarf. Whenever you roll 1 or more dice, Brazen Dwarf deals 1 damage to each opponent. Pretty neat. Arcane Investigator. You roll a d20 for a total of 6 bloody mana. If you get a 1 through 9, you draw a card. 2 through 20, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Put 1 of them in your hand, and the rest onto the bottom of your deck in any order. I don't know why I show you these guys, because they don't. But, you know. Minimus Containment is an aura and an enchantment. Enchant a non-land permanent. So a creature. Enchanted Permanent is a treasure artifact where you can sacrifice to add 1 mana of any color, and it loses all of its other abilities. If it was a creature, it is no longer considered a creature. That is a light enchantment card. We've got a blue instant, Find the Villain's Lair, which is one of 2 choices. You can foil their scheme, which counter target spell, or learn their secrets. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Not bad. That's actually not a bad trade, honestly. Whoa. We have the Baleful Beholder, which is a swamp or black creature. When Baleful Beholder enters the battlefield, choose 1 anti-magic cone. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment or fear ray. Creatures you control gain menace until end of turn. A creature with menace cannot be blocked unless the opponent uses 2 or more creatures to block them. And he has a whopping 6/5 attack, or 6/5 attack and toughness, which is quite a bit. We have another swamp or black sorcery card called Devour Intellect. Target opponent discards a card. If mana from a treasure was spent to cast this spell, instead that player reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, and then that player discards that card. Creepy looking card. I wish you guys could see it. I don't know if you can, but that's like a little brain creature. This thing right here. Just what's a brain with legs? It's freaky looking. We've got a standard land card called Evolving Wilds, but you can sacrifice Evolving Wilds to search your deck for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Interesting little spell. We've got a red instant called You Find Some Prisoners. You can choose to do one of 2 things, and I like that theme that they're doing with this player's choice, kind of like in a real D&D campaign. I think it's pretty neat. But anyways, choose one of two. Break their chains, which allows you to destroy target artifact, or interrogate them. Exile the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Choose one of them until the end of your next turn. You may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. So, that sounds confusing, but typically in Magic, you're not fighting the same element as you. And so, what happens is, like, you tend to have purist decks, like a full fire and a full forest deck. And so, what ends up happening is you see a lot of, obviously, separate elements. So what this card is saying is that if one of you is using forest and the other one is using, we'll just say, plains, obviously you don't have any plains mana in your deck to be able to play his plains card. So what this is saying is that if you play this card, you can use your forest mana to play their plains card, or your green mana to play their white card. That's actually pretty neat, and a good thing they thought of that, because otherwise this card would have been absolutely useless. So, pretty neat card. I actually like that a lot. We've got a red or fire creature. Sorry, volcano. Right? Volcano. I don't play red very often. And again, it's been quite a while since I played Magic in general. But you guys wanted to see it. Mountain. We're just gonna call it red or fire, like normal people. Anyways, yeah, so a red creature that has trample. Again, the excess damage that's dealt to a creature is dealt to the player as well. And an ability called Pack Tactics. Whenever a Tiger Tribe Hunter attacks. If you attacked with creatures total power 6 or greater this combat, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Tiger Tribe Hunter deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature. That's interesting. If you all can see it, but I don't think you can. I haven't shown a card in a little while. Ray of Enfeeblement is a black or swamp instant. Target creature gets -4 and -1 until the end of the turn. If that target creature is a white or plains card, it gets -4 instead of -4, -1 until the end of the turn. Pretty neat. Lots of purple, and you can't even look at the cards, you can barely tell what's happening. Oh yeah, no you can. Interesting. That's an interesting way to paint that. We've got a Hand of Vecna, which is a legendary artifact. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, equipped creature, or a creature you control, named Vecna gets +X until the end of the term, where X is the number of cards in your hand. If you equip this to a monster, you must pay 1 life for each card in your hand. And to equip it is 2 mana. We've got a holographic. You find the villain's lair, which we've already gone over. That's the one where you can counter or draw 2 cards to discard 2 cards, which I think is actually a really good card. And then a basic swamp energy, or swamp mana energy. This isn't Pokemon. So, we still have quite a few packs to go through. It looks like 7. So, let's get to going, shall we? treasure that was spent to cast this spell. When that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. Interesting. We've got a blue instant called Contact Other Plane. That's actually a pretty neat looking card. Little eyeball with a wizard. Like, what are you doing? I'm watching you. Anyways, roll a d20. 1 through 9, draw 2 cards. 10 through 19, scry 2, then draw 2 cards. If you roll a nat 20, scry 3, and draw 3 cards. An artifact, a white artifact called Delver's Torch. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, venture into the dungeon or advance into the next room. And if you spend 3 mana, you can equip it and attach to target creature you control. Equip only as a sorcery. Again, you can't see these, but it's a guy with a torch. A swamp or black enchantment. Precipitous drop. I'm not a very. I don't know how to say that word. Anyways, enchant creature. When precipitous drop enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon or advance into the next room. Enchanted creature gets -2, -2. It gets -5 as long as you've completed a dungeon. So this dungeon mechanic's actually pretty important for this set. I really gotta figure out how these are played. We got another. You come to the Null Camp, which is the cannot be blocked, or they get +1/+3. We got another Devour Intellect with a weird little brain creature. We have a new one, black or swamp creature card called Clattering Skeletons. When clattering skeletons die, venture into the dungeon or advance into the next room with a whopping 4/3 attack and toughness, which is actually pretty good for a basic monster. You can't read this. I just keep trying, y'all. Improvised Weaponry, which we've gotten before. Oh, this is a fun card. So, a lot of decks are not actually pure decks, meaning they're not all forest or all plains or all red or all blue. They're often hybrids. They're often 2 elements put together. And I'm glad that we got one of these cards so I can show it off, because this is a card that is actually both. If you can tell, on this side it is got a blue border, on this side it is a green border, and then if you were able to actually see my camera focus, this is a forest and island mana. So a blue and green mana has to be played to play this card. Gretchen Ditchwillow is a legendary creature, a halfling druid, and if you spend 2 mana plus 1 forest and 1 island, you may draw a card, and you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Really cool. I'm really glad they had a hybrid card. We got another new one here. The swamp or black card. That is the Demogorgon's Clutches, which a lot of people actually think Demogorgon came from Stranger Things, but true Stranger Things fans would know that it actually is a D&D creature, because that's how they knew how to deal with it, and that's how they knew what it was. So, anyways. Sorcery. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mills 2 cards, and then loses 2 life. To mill a card, a player puts the top card of their deck into the graveyard. That is pretty nasty card. creature called the Chaos Channeler. Whenever Chaos Channeler attacks, roll a d20. 1 through 9, exile the top card of your deck, and you may play it this turn. 10 through 19, 10 through 19, exile the top 2 cards of your deck, and you may play both of them this turn. And if you roll an at 20, it's 3 cards, or you may play them this turn. Lair of the Hydra. That is a tree. Anyways, it is a land card. If you control 2 or more other lands, Lair of the Hydra enters battlefield tapped. You may use it to add 1 forest energy or mana. And then you can spend X plus 1 forest mana until the end of the turn. Lair of the Hydra becomes an XX green Hydra creature. It is still a land, and X cannot be 0. And then another basic swamp mana. Alright. So we'll go ahead and go on for the next one here. Come on. There we go. Hi, baby. My beautiful wife is looking at me. I don't know why. I don't know what this is, but that's pretty neat. Guinevere. I'm keeping that one. Guinevere is awesome because she is the companion to my favorite book character ever, Zorn, which I'm really hoping I pull out of this box here. Couple of rares, couple of fun stuff. Perceptuous drop. We already got a forest land called Find the Path. When Find the Path enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon and Find the Path. If you enchant a land with it, adds 2 energy instead of just 1. Dragon's Fire is a red instant spell. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you must reveal a dragon card from your hand, or choose a dragon you control. So you have to have a dragon on the field in order to use this, or at least in your hand. Dragon's Fire deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you revealed a dragon card, or choose a dragon card as you cast this spell, Dragon's Fire deals damage equal to the power of that card or creature instead. Interesting. We got a Bar the Gate, which we've gotten a couple of now. We've got a white artifact called Paladin's Shield, which gives flash. Whenever Paladin's Shield enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature you control. Target creature gets +0/+2. Pretty neat. It's all shiny and whatnot. Swamp or dark card. Shambling Ghast. When Shambling Ghast dies, choose one of the following. Brave the Stench. Target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until the end of the turn. Or search the body. Create a treasure token. We've got a white creature, which is Ranger's Hawk. It has flying, and you can tap another untapped creature you control to venture into the dungeon. It's +1/+1. We got the Owlbear again, but we got it in the cool fancy schmancy kind of card. Dire Wolf Prowler. Dire Wolf Prowler gets +2/+2 and gains haste until the end of the turn. If you choose to use 1 any mana and 1 forest mana, which can make it a +4/+4 creature, but you may only do that once a turn. Spare Dagger is just a regular artifact. Equipped creature gets +1/+0, and whenever this creature attacks, you may sacrifice Spare Dagger. When you do, this creature deals +1 damage to any target. I think my wife is getting bored. Prosperous Innkeeper. It is a forest or green creature. When Prosperous Innkeeper enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Ray of Frost, which is a blue enchantment. You gain Flash, an enchanted creature. When Ray of Frost enters the battlefield, if an enchanted creature is red, tap it. As long as enchanted creature is red, it loses all of its abilities. An enchanted creature does not untap during its controller's untap step. Really good for countering red cards, but typically you don't want cards that counter only very, very specific things, because what if your opponent doesn't run any mountain or red stuff in their deck, in which case you have a dead card. A basic mountain energy. Just go ahead and throw that in the box. Borrowin of the Clan Undar, a legendary dwarf cleric. She is both light and dark, or white and black, or swamp and plains, however you want to word it. When Borrowin of Clan Undar enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Whenever Borrowin of the Clan Undar attacks, return up to 1 creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard onto the battlefield if you have completed a dungeon. And she's in that fancy schmancy kind of style. And then we've got Zorn. Zorn is a red creature. If you would create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create these tokens plus an additional 1. So he is a 3/2 creature. He's eating treasure chests, which doesn't make sense why you summon more when you use him, but what are you gonna do? Go ahead and, there we go. That one might have been a little loud, sorry y'all. So we've got 5 packs left. We got we got a treasure artifact token. We do have a legendary in here, and another fun, weird art style. Fate Reversal, which is a swamp sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard into your hand, and then venture into the dungeon. Scaled Herbalist. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Forest creature. A mountain or red creature. The Valor Stinger. Combat Inspiration. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until the end of the turn. Clever Conjurer, Mage Hand. Untap target permanent not named Clever Conjurer. Activate only as a sorcery. +2 Mace, which is a very interesting name for a magic card, but actually pretty cool. How close to D&D this actually is. Target creature gets +2/+2. We got another You Find the Villain's Lair. We got a couple of those actually. We even got one that's hollow. You're ambushed on the road. You may choose one. Make a retreat. Return target creature you control to its owner's hand. Or stand and fight. Target creature gets +1/+3 until the end of the turn. Rhyme Shield Frost Giant, which is just a really big blue monster with ward. I don't know what ward is, but we'll figure it out. Like I said, I haven't played it in a long while, but I remember the absolute basics, which is probably what we'll be going over in the next video on this subject. Anyways, Mimic. Mimic is an artifact. You may sacrifice them to add 1 mana of any color, or you can spend 2 mana and Mimic becomes a shapeshifter artifact with the base power and toughness of +3 until the end of the turn. You have Divine Smite, which is a Plains instant. Target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls faces out. If that permanent is black, exile it instead. If it faces out, treat it and anything attached to it as though they don't exist until its controller's next turn. So it doesn't kill it, and it doesn't exile it. It essentially removes it from the battlefield, but it comes back the next turn, which is actually really interesting. You could use that on a really big, powerful monster to stop it from attacking the next turn, to give you at least one more turn to try and deal with it. Pretty neat. We've got an island creature, or a blue creature, Guild Thief. Whenever Guild Thief deals combat to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Or you can spend 4 mana, 3 regular, and 1 island. Guild Thief cannot be blocked. We've got a red creature, Battlecry Goblin. Goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste. Pack Tactics. Whenever Battlecry Goblin attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power of 6 or greater this combat, create a +1/+1 red goblin token that's tapped and attacking. Wizard's Spellbook is a island or blue artifact. Exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Roll a d20. 1 through 9. You copy that card and instantly cast it. 10 through 19. Copy that card and you may cast the copy by paying 1 mana rather than its total mana cost. Nat 20. Copy each card exiled with Wizard's Spellbook. You may cast any number of those copies without paying the mana cost. So if you exile a creature with a bunch of enchantments on it, you can re-summon any of those monsters under your control to do whatever you want with. That's pretty nutty. Gloomstalker is a plains creature. As long as you've completed a dungeon, Gloomstalker has double strike. It attacks twice. And a basic forest mana card. And Gloomstalker is the super shiny, super fancy holographic. Alright, so we got 4 packs left, everybody. which is a forest or green creature. When the Hill Giant enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and it is a whopping, you can't read it, 7/6 for attack and toughness. That's bananas. Valor Singer, we've already used. Scion of Stygia is a blue creature. Cone of Cold. When Scion of Stygia enters the battlefield, roll a d20. After choosing a target creature, if you roll a 1 through 9, you tap that creature. 10 through 20, tap that creature, and it does not untap for 1 whole turn. Zombie Ogre is a black or swamp guard creature. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, venture into the dungeon with a whopping 3/5 toughness. Potion of Healing is a plains white card. When Potion of Healing enters the battlefield, draw a card, or you may sacrifice Potion of Healing to gain 3 life. Plummet, which we've already gotten. Silver Raven is a blue artifact creature with flying. When Silver Raven enters the battlefield, scry 1. You may look at the top card of your deck and put that card on the bottom of your library if you choose. So that's what all the scries mean. That's good to know. A blue instant, choose 1. You see a guard approach. Distract the guard, which is tap target creature, or hide target creature you control. Gains hexproof until the end of turn. It cannot be targeted by spells or abilities your opponent controls. Neverwinter Dryad, which we've gotten. Null Hunter, which is the interesting style that they're doing this time around, is a forest creature. Whenever Null Hunter attacks, if you attacked with creatures with a total power of 6 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Null Hunter. A Drider, which is a swamp or a dark card, or black card, or however you want to word it, has reach, which means it can hit flying, even though it's not a flying monster itself. Whenever Drider deals combat damage to a player, create a 2/1 black spider token with menace and reach. Which, again, menace means it needs 2 creatures to block it, and reach means it can block and attack flying creatures. We got a plains card here. White Dragon is flying and cold breath. When White Dragon enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature does not attack on your opponent's next untap step. A forest creature, which is Circle of Dreams Druid. You may tap to add 1 forest for each creature you control. Not bad. A Plains Energy. Whoop, I'm way above where that goes. And then, of course, another class card, kind of like that Druid one, that you've got to level up as the game goes on. This one being the Warlock Glass. Look at how fancy. It looks like a thing coming out of a... It looks like an evil genie. Anyways. It starts off with, at the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, each opponent loses 1 life. Level 2. When this class becomes level 2, look at the top 3 cards in your deck, put 1 of them in your hand, and the rest in your graveyard. And for level 3, at a whopping 7 mana, at the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. Interesting. Alright. 3 more packs, y'all. Just bear with me. We're almost there. Come on. satisfying sound. I love that sound. Alright, open this up and see what we got. A wolf token creature. And let's do a quick we got a hollow. A red creature, Earth Cult Elemental. When it enters the battlefield, roll a d20, 1 through 9. Each player sacrifices a permanent. 10 through 19. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent. If you roll a nat 20, each opponent sacrifices 2 permanents. Shortcut Seeker, a island creature or blue creature. Whenever Shortcut Seeker deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon at 2/5. We got a Gloom Stalker, non-holographic. Grim Bounty is a swamp or dark card. Destroy target creature or planeswalker and create a treasure token, which you may sacrifice to add 1 mana of any color to your total mana. Sylvan Shepherd is a forest creature. Whenever a Sylvan Shepherd attacks, roll a d20. You may gain +1 life. 10 through 19, 2 life. 20, gain 5 life. 5 life. Does that really say 5? 5 life. That's a big heal. We got another Boots of Speed. Another Gloomstalker. Another You Come to a River. Another Feign Death. Another Divine Smite. We're definitely getting to the point where we've pulled a lot of the stuff that's in this set, so we're going to start getting a lot of copies now. A Forest Instant. Choose your weapon. You may choose one of 2. 2. Weapon Fighting. Double target creature's power and toughness until the end of turn. Or Archery. The spell deals 5 damage to target creature with flying. We got another Chaos Channeler. Wish, a fire sorcery card. You may play a card you own from outside the game this turn. Wait. So like it wouldn't be included in your actual deck? Or you could, I would assume, yeah, because you could just play like a god card or something. So like any magic card you own at all, you can just play it. That's crazy broken. Holy crap. That's crazy. Okay. Got a holographic Bull Strength. And a basic Swamp. Energy, or mana, I keep saying energy because Pokemon. 2 more left, y'all. That is me talking to myself, apparently. I am getting hungry. A dungeon skeletal token. We got another Secret Door, Potion of Healing, Thieves' Tool, and then a Circle of the Moon Druid. Is a forest creature with the ability Bear Form. As long as it's your turn, Circle of the Moon Druid is a bear with base power and toughness of 4/2, which is ironic because the other way around, it's a 2/4 on your opponent's turn. Pretty interesting card. So, its toughness and attack flip-flops based on whose turn it is. Another Dragon's Fire, another Clever Conjurer, another You Hear Something on Watch. Red Hobgoblin Captain. Pack Tactics. Whenever Hobgoblin Captain attacks, if you attacked with creatures with a total power of 6 or greater, Hobgoblin Captain gains first strike until the end of turn. Okay, now let's see now. First strike is the damage. So with haste, I have to refamiliarize myself with a lot of stuff. We'll go over all that again in the second video. Again, it's been a long time since I played Magic, but we're gonna learn. I just gotta reread the rules and kind of refamiliarize myself with a bunch of stuff. We got a Baleful Beholder in the kind of cool art style. Another Prosperous Innkeeper, another Warlock Glass, another Bowin of the Clan of Undor, again in the fun art style, and another Wish card, which is just that's just broken. That's just why does that card exist? That is the most insane card I've seen in any card game in a long time. Alright, so last pack, so let's hope for something really good here. We're not looking for hollows, we're actually looking for a very specific card. But we will see. Alright. So, a spider token for the Drider, if you want to put it in there. And I did not get what I was looking for. Unfortunate, but such is the nature of card games. Basic mountain energy. We've got the Dwarfall Champion. As long as Dwarfall Champion is equipped, get a +0/+2. Another Devour Intellect. Compelled Duel. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn and must be blocked this turn if able. That is a forest sorcery spell. Another Shortcut Seeker. Another Wish card, which is I just don't understand. That card is so crazy. Anyways, Dawnbringer Cleric is a white or plains card. When Dawnbringer Cleric enters the battlefield, choose one. Gain 2 life, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from the graveyard. Yanti Fangblade gains Death Touch, so if it deals damage, if it hits a monster whose damage is higher than its defense, then it instantly destroys the monster. I think. Pretty sure. Again, been a couple years. I probably should have refamiliarized myself with this stuff before I did this video, but I was so excited to open my cards. And Shannon was like, yeah, you should probably do that on camera. And I was like, you are probably right. Whenever Yanti Fangblade deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. We've got another Paladin Shield, Pixie Guide, an island or blue creature is flying with the ability grant an advantage. If you would roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many dice +1 and ignore the lower roll. Aeroborea Pegasus is flying. Whenever Aeroborea Pegasus enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 and flying. Another Drider, another Choose Your Weapon, another White Dragon, and another, wow, 2 in the same pack, Choose Your Own Weapon. So that is all for this video. That is all for this video. Again, this is just part 1 for the video that this viewer requested. Stay tuned for part 2, where we go over what in the world half the stuff I just talked about is, and we'll cover how to play Magic. Thanks guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.